to the United Nations, would there be a lot of confusion about when it's torture and when it is not torture?
I think, as a general matter, I think the Convention Against Torture is probably the internationally accepted definition. Applying it in particular circumstances may be difficult, but the actual definition, I think, is most people would accept that as the definition.
Well, I mean, does it become okay if you, instead of calling it torture, call it aggressive interrogation techniques? Does that make it okay?
No, if it violated either the convention or the statute, it doesn't matter what you call it. It matters.
And the rules, do they apply if you're under United States control but not technically on United States jurisdiction?
The statute, actually, the federal statute only applies if you're outside of the United States. And so it would only apply in the situation where you're outside the United States. If you're inside the United States, various other statutes.
So it would apply at Guantanamo Bay and Abu Ghraib Prison?
Yes, I believe that's correct. I don't think anybody ever suggested that the statute did not apply.
Okay. If the torture, if the normal interrogation techniques do not work, does that justify torture?
Under the statute, nothing justifies torture. If it's torture, it's not allowed, regardless of the reason.
If it worked, does it justify the torture?
No, under the statute, it doesn't. There's nothing that says you can do it if it's successful. It doesn't matter whether it's successful or not.
Does it become okay if the administration says it's okay?
No, if it violates the statute, it violates the statute.
So you can't just write a little memo saying it's okay, and that gives everybody the green light to go forward. Is that right?
No, I mean, obviously you'd have to analyze the statute as best you could to make sure you're complying with it, not violating it.
And this thing called rendition, does that, if you hand somebody over to someone who is not restrained and knowing or at least suspecting they're going to torture somebody, does that make you complicit?
Well, it would violate the Convention Against Torture, which has a prohibition against just that. Whether it would constitute a conspiracy to violate the U.S. statute, I think, is not something I've ever analyzed, so I don't know. But it would certainly violate the Convention Against Torture.
Now, following up one of the questions that the gentleman from Minnesota asked, in your 2004 memo, you had a footnote in there that says we have reviewed this office's prior opinions addressing issues involving treatment of detainees and do not believe that any of their conclusion would be different under the standards set forth in this memorandum. The ABC News reported that the White House insisted that that footnote be included. Is that true?
I'm not allowed to discuss that. I'm sorry, sir.
Do you deny the ABC report?
I think if I answer that question, I would be giving an answer to the question I'm not allowed to answer. So I'm sorry. I'm simply not authorized to discuss that.
What is the meaning of that footnote?
I can tell you what it meant to say, and to the extent that people have interpreted it differently, it's my fault for not being clearer on it. But what I meant was, if you took the other opinions the office had written analyzing particular techniques, and you took out the statutory analysis there and put in the new statutory analysis, in my view, the people writing those opinions would not have come to a different conclusion. Because, for instance, they never said this pain is really, really extreme and it's just up to the line of body organ failure, but it's not quite there. Those opinions never thought they were close to the line. It did not mean, as some have interpreted, and again, this is my fault, no doubt, in drafting, that we had concluded that we would have reached the same conclusions as those earlier opinions did. We were, in fact, analyzing that at the time, and we never completed that analysis.
Well, just to be clear on the White House asking you to do this without revealing the contents of the discussion, did you discuss the footnote with the White House?
Yes.
You're back, Mr. Chairman.